everybody, welcome back to the Bristol Cottage Project up in North Salt Lake. We wanted to give you a little bit of a behind the scenes tour because at this phase of the house, normally everything's all kind of buttoned up and locked down. You can't necessarily walk in unless you're the owner or unless you're the designer or somebody who's on the building staff. So today we want to show you a few of the details that are coming up. We're starting off at the front door. Obviously, this is an incredible, massive front door. And one of the things that's really important to us is making sure that the scale is appropriate. So that'll be a little bit of the theme as we take you through today. And then jumping away from the front door, Emily's gonna tell us a little bit about one of the fun little secret nuggets we've got right here off the entry of the house.
So the architecture of this home gave us some really cool opportunities to have a few little bonus areas. In this entryway, we are given kind of this extra square footage that a lot of people may not know what to do with. It's kind of seems like lost space if you're unsure of how to style a home and how to lay out furniture in a home. But we're going to be putting a really gorgeous round table right here that gives you a beautiful entry moment. And then we have a fun window where, everybody walking by is going to be able to see maybe a gorgeous floral arrangement, some family photos, and it's gonna be just a really wow moment right when you walk in the front door.
One thing we actually love about this window here, normally when you have a window next to the front door, it's part of the front door moment, but here the front door actually gets to stand alone, and it has a little bit of a diffused glass in it so that people can't necessarily see straight in. You can see that somebody's there, but you still have the privacy and security of your own home. And the beautiful thing about this window being off to the side is if you want to see who's at the front door, you can kind of sneak over and peek at who's coming, but they can't necessarily see straight into your house because that entry table is there to give you some security, and there's nothing for them to be able to see right here. So we also love, most houses don't get a round circle table. If you do have an entry table that's circle, it's often right off the front door, and it kind of is this awkward moment when you first walk in of, am I going to stumble into this table or can I walk right around it? This gives us the opportunity of tucking it away at the side so you get to see it and enjoy it without making it an awkward moment for a guest.
Coming across the other side of our entryway, we have the gorgeous piano, formal sitting room. And as you can see, talking about scale again, this room has incredibly tall ceilings.
So the height of this space actually leans into the architecture of the home. On the original set of plans, the ceilings in here were a standard height, and it was a nice, beautiful piano room just like you would expect. But the client had a vision in her mind of this double-story window that comes right off the side of that front door moment. And in order to have the window be that high, we had to stretch the whole height of the room. So this is kind of where that height came from. And one of the things that is important when you're working with a designer and why we love to help you is sometimes if you had a room that got stretched twice as high, that could be just as much of a problem as it is a solution. So we love being able to say, okay, now that we have this room that's extra tall, how do we make the volume work for the space and not seem like an afterthought or not seem a little too awkward that there's so much ceiling height?
The first thing that we wanted to achieve in this room was to really fill the volume of the space. We did this really gorgeous 12-foot high built-in here. It's a nice way to fill the height of the space without sort of taking over the entire wall. And then from the ceiling down, we're gonna have a stunning over 4-foot high chandelier. So that way, the top is coming down a little bit and everything on the bottom is coming up to really fill the space, still give it a nice inviting feel without feeling too cluttered. And then one other aspect that we're gonna be doing on this back wall, the ceilings in here are 16 feet. So we've got lots of room to play with. We're gonna be doing a really cool, almost floral plaster mold that is gonna kind of come down from one corner and up from the other and meet in the middle, and then have a large antique piece of art that's going to fill the space, and it's gonna be gorgeous.
As you'll see behind us, there's a moment where the edge of the cabinetry comes right up against the primer of the wall, and it can have a tendency to feel like there's so much yellow in this built-in paint. And this feels really stark white. And the reality is that this is just primer that you're seeing behind us. So it has a lot of blue undertone to it. The only goal of this is to make sure that the paint on the wall is ready to be adhered. This whole room is going to be painted in the same color. So this creaminess that you're seeing on the built-in is actually going to make the space so cozy and warm and fresh, and it won't tend to have that same yellow undertone that you're seeing while it's up against the stark blue. Jumping quickly into the mudroom, this is one of those other areas where our client was a little bit nervous that the paint color was going to come off too gray. And as you can see, once it's put up next to this beautiful wood tone, it's coming off a lot more cozy, a little bit more of this robin egg tone, and it has such a beautiful life and energy to it. She loved it immediately once she saw it in person.
One other thing that we are always thinking about during the build is what furniture and what art we are going to use throughout the home. So in a couple of spots, we wanted to make sure that we have really special moments, such as this wall that's right off of a secondary entry that comes from the driveway. And so we've already been working with the client, going to some antique markets, furniture markets, and sourcing those pieces that are really going to turn this home into the beautiful, cozy place that they want it to be.
As we move throughout the house, I want you to just take a quick peek and view the grand spaces in here. We have a high vaulted ceiling in the great room. This is going to give a lot of space for entertaining. The other thing we wanted to kind of mention is a big part of our process goes into the flow of the house. So not just how things look, but how you're going to be living your life. So how is your life going to go when you're moving from the great room into the kitchen? Where will you be spending your time? How will you be working when you're cooking, when you have guests over? Where do you want to be? Where do you want them to be? Where do you want the garbage? Where do you want the dishwasher? Where do you want the microwave? Those are all things that we're going to be talking about.
For us, and I think a lot of other people, the kitchen is often the heart of the home. So in here we have, a great opportunity to have two entrances into the kitchen. We have the main entrance that we just came through, where most of the guests and people just coming over will be able to come to the kitchen. And then we also have this separate entrance that leads straight to the garage, makes it very convenient for the client to bring in groceries, and just for their day-to-day life, it's a little bit of an easier access point. Right here to the left, when you come in through this separate kitchen entrance, we have a really fun little shallow cabinet. This is one of those details that I think you wouldn't necessarily think to put in your home, but it's going to make the world of a difference. So it's a very shallow key cabinet is what we're calling it. It'll have a hidden panel with no hardware on the outside, so most people won't even know it's there, but it's a great space for the owner to leave mail, charging station for electronics, and house keys and car keys.
As we mentioned, whatever layer is going in can be a little bit of a moment of feeling kind of nervous if you're not entirely sure how everything's going to work together. So keep in mind, this is the kitchen at its current phase. We have the base cabinets in, we have a beautiful combination of painted wood in here and then organic raw wood as well. And we also have beautiful countertops with stunning edges, but we're also going to be seeing beautiful upper cabinets that are going in that are kind of a creamy white tone. So functionally with the client, we really work together on making sure that the lower portion of the cabinet is going to be cleanable, durable, that it's not going to show staining or scuff marks or any of that, but she still wanted a nice, bright, fresh kitchen. So these are all of the layers that we're thinking about. And we just want to remind all of our clients and any of you who are kind of doing this to just lean into the process. The plan came together for a reason. And this is one of those instances where as soon as that next layer goes in with the upper cabinets, light fixtures will go in, the flooring is going to be shown off, furniture, artwork, and all the other layers will be going in. So the house is going to just keep getting better and better.
One other thing that we want to point out that is really important to keep in mind, and something that we can definitely help you with, is making sure that the budget is in line in your spaces. So in these main areas, you'll see that we're using a really gorgeous natural stone on the island and on the perimeter. This is definitely an investment piece, but so worth it for this main area in the house. And then back in some of these secondary areas, like the pantry, we're saving in a couple of ways by using a man-made stone on the countertops, and we will also be using a melamine rather than a natural wood on some of the shelving in here. These are going to be the melamine shelves that we have going in the pantry. It's kind of fun to see them in this phase before they're actually installed. And like I mentioned, these are a great way to save just a little bit on the budget, but in order to make them feel like they still fit the style of the home and they blend really well with everything else, all of the end panels and the crown molding will still be casing the shelving so that it feels really nice and flows really well with all of the high-end cabinetry in the home.
Thanks again for joining us on this behind the scenes of our Bristol Cottage project. We can't wait to share with you all the things that are coming down the road. In the meantime, please like and subscribe and hop over to our Instagram at Edit Design House to see a little bit more behind the scenes, and have a good one.